Most people think of haunted places as abandoned mansions, creepy asylums, or fog-covered graveyards. But what if I told you that one of the most haunted places in America is actually a cozy little inn where guests check in, but sometimes they don't check out the same? This is the true story of the Black Swan Inn, a place with a history so dark, even ghost hunters refuse to stay the night. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why. Warning: the following video contains intense scenes, unsettling imagery, and frightening moments that may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. Proceed if you dare. The Black Swan Inn sits quietly in San Antonio, Texas. To the outside world, it's a beautiful old mansion surrounded by towering oak trees and lush green lawns. It's the kind of place where weddings happen, where families gather for celebrations. But what most people don't realize is that this land has been soaked in blood for over 300 years. Long before the inn was built, this land was the site of a massive battle between Spanish settlers and Native American warriors. Hundreds died right where the inn stands today. The ground was never blessed. Their bodies were never properly buried. And that was just the beginning. Years later, the land was turned into a plantation where suffering and cruelty became a daily reality. People who lived here often reported hearing the sounds of chains dragging across the floors when no one else was there. And then, in the 1800s, a wealthy businessman built his dream home on this cursed land. His name was Henry Callahan, and at first, his family seemed happy, until the day his wife drowned in the river behind the house. Some say she slipped. Others say she was pulled under. Callahan was never the same after that. Guests claimed they would hear him whispering to someone in empty rooms. He refused to move out. And then, one night, he walked upstairs to his bedroom and never came back down. Some say it was suicide. Others believe he was never alone in that house. After Callahan's death, the house sat abandoned for years. People avoided it. Even trespassers stayed away, because anyone who spent the night there would wake up to the same thing. A woman's voice, right next to their ear, whispering the same 3 words: "Get out now." One of the most famous ghosts at the Black Swan Inn is believed to be the spirit of Park Street, a former owner who died mysteriously inside the house. Guests and employees claim to see a woman in a flowing white gown wandering the upstairs halls at night. Some say she weeps softly, as if mourning something lost. But those who have seen her up close say her face is missing. One visitor, staying overnight for a ghost tour, woke up to a strange noise. As she sat up in bed, she saw a woman standing at the end of the hallway. The woman didn't move, didn't speak, just stood there, her white dress billowing as if there was a breeze, though the air was completely still. When the guest blinked, the woman was suddenly inches from her face. She screamed. The lights flickered. When the tour guide rushed in, the woman was gone. But on the floor where she stood, the carpet was soaking wet. During a wedding reception held at the Black Swan Inn, a photographer was taking pictures of the venue at night. One of the shots captured the upstairs window, where a dark figure stood staring down. The problem: the room behind that window was locked. When they went upstairs to check, the room was completely empty. But the photographer, reviewing the pictures again, noticed something chilling. In the next frame, taken seconds later, the shadow was no longer in the window. Instead, it was standing behind the bride. Today, the Black Swan Inn is a fully operational bed and breakfast. Guests come and go. People celebrate weddings and parties there. But not everyone who stays there gets a good night's sleep. Multiple guests have reported waking up in the middle of the night to find a shadowy figure standing at the foot of their bed. Others have heard a woman crying in the hallways, only to find out there were no women staying in the inn that night. One couple, celebrating their honeymoon, checked out at 3 a.m. because the wife woke up to find her husband sitting up in bed, staring at the corner. When she asked what he was looking at, he whispered, "She's in the room with us." And then there's the mirror. In one of the main rooms, there's an old mirror that has been there for decades. People say if you look at it for too long, you'll see someone else staring back at you. Not your reflection, not anyone in the room, someone else. One paranormal investigator was live streaming from the Black Swan Inn when he turned his camera toward the mirror. His chat exploded because even though he was the only person in the room, a woman's face was staring out from the mirror. The Black Swan Inn remains open to this day. You can visit, take a tour, even spend the night. But if you do, don't look in the mirror too long. Don't ignore the whispers. And if you ever wake up in the middle of the night and see a shadow at the foot of your bed, don't move. Because once she knows you can see her, she never lets you leave.